Hi, how are you all? I hope you're all really good. Welcome back to Kirsty's Booked. In today's video, I'm going to do my January reading wrap up. First of all, congratulations on making it through January. It has felt like 3 months long. It felt like it's been January for years. And that's from someone who has a January birthday. I've been coming back to uni, like, I can't believe we're so far into the uni term already, but also I can't believe we are only just in February. But yeah, I have got a few books. I read 9 books in January. Unfortunately, most of them are for English Lit and absolutely still count towards my reading goal. But yeah, I'm just gonna get started. So the first book I read in January was The Butterfly Assassin by Finn Longman. This was a reread. I'm not going to say a lot about it because I have given a full in-depth review on literally every single one of my most recent videos. It was one of my favourites of 2024. I read it for the first time last year and I'm rereading it, or just finished rereading it for the second time at the start of this year. I have annotated it. I did run out of tabs, so they do sort of go a little bit wonky. Absolutely obsessed with this book. If you've not read Finn Longman, please do. Their work is amazing. This is like dystopia. I would say it's sort of Shatter Me crossed with Divergent crossed with the Natural series, I would say. We'll go with that. So this was obviously a 5-star. It was a reread. It was incredible. The characters are amazing. It's so unpredictable. Have some tissues at the ready. But yeah, so I finished rereading this. This was my first book of the year. Okay, I also should preface this video by saying a lot of the first few of these I read at home and when I was home for Christmas, so I do have physical copies of them, but I don't have a physical copy with me. So the second book I read was Good Girls Die I'm already losing it. I will preface this by saying I'm very tired today. I am sleep deprived and totally and utterly exhausted. I've had a long weekend. It's been a long couple of days. Good, but really exhausted. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. The second book was Good Girls Die First by Catherine Foxfield. This was a 3-star for me. I had been reading this book for such a long time. It's not my favourite genre. It is a YA thriller, which is one of my favourite genres, but it edges slightly on horror, which I rarely read horror. It's not really my thing. So it was exciting and it was unpredictable, but it was also just a bit weird and a bit creepy, and I did enjoy it, but it just, like, it could have been spectacular. The premise was really good and it was really interesting, but it did become a little bit repetitive, and I think because it took me so long to read it as well, it wasn't as amazing and impactful as it could have been. It had the chance to really hit that top mark, but it just fell slightly short. Still really good. It was a 3-star. And then the third book I read was Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I also don't have my physical copy with me. I read that when I was at home. The Natural series has become my Roman Empire. All 3 of the first 3 books in the series were all in my like top books of 2024. It's absolutely insane. I love them so much. I'm obsessed with them. I'm genuinely so heartbroken that I've now finished the series. In my head I'm like, when am I going to read the next Natural series? And there is no more. I still haven't read the novella, but because I was like, I can't be physically finished with these characters, it will break my heart too much. I sobbed reading this book. It was the biggest 5 stars, an incredible end to the series. It was one of those series where it just keeps getting better and better the entire book. I've talked to multiple people about this. I'm obsessed with this series so much. It's so underrated. Unpopular opinion, The Naturals is so much better than any other Jennifer Lynn Barnes series. I did enjoy the Inheritance games, but this is literally exceptional. One of my favourite book series of all time. This is one of my favourite books of all time. It's just insane. It's just incredible. I could not rate this more highly. Okay, and then I read Beg, Borrow or Steal by Sarah Adams. I have been so excited for the release of this book, and I got it from my sister, I think, for Christmas or my birthday maybe. I devoured this, I think, in 2 days. I read most of it in my bus journey back home. back from home down to uni, and it was perfect. The journey was amazing, mostly because I was reading this book the entire way through. This book is amazing. You cannot go wrong with the Sarah Adams. She just writes the perfect. This was one of my favourites I think that she's ever written. Her romance is just exceptional. I will say this is a little bit more spicy than she usually writes. Not that I had an issue with that because it was perfectly written, but a lot of the time I tell people that her romances are pretty much clean. This one's not as closed door as the others. It is exceptional. It's like two teachers, it's like writing, it's like rivals to lovers. It is just exceptionally done. I love the setting of this, and the family element, and the way that you see all these other characters and like their relationships like developing in these. It's just exceptional. I think there's maybe a few more left in this series. I can't remember who in the who still hasn't got anyone, but I'm obsessed with this series. This was a 5-star. If you're looking for a romance, go and read Sarah Adams. Okay, and here we are hitting the point where I came back to uni. So the first book, I think it's a novella, I would probably call it a short story actually, it still counts, is The Mark on the Wall by Virginia Woolf. I very much don't rate the books I've read for uni because I feel like it's unfair for me to judge them on the same level as I judge books that I read for pleasure. I think it's unfair for me to be ranking books that I have read because I have to, even if there's sometimes books that I would have wanted to read anyway or that I would rank highly. This one, I will be honest, I just read it quite quickly. I don't remember exactly what it was by. It was really short. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't really have much to say on it. I read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, the 1818 version. This I really enjoyed. It's been one of those books that I have always wanted to read it, and it's like, oh yeah, I would love to say that I've read Frankenstein, but I rarely prioritise my classics, and I do sometimes struggle with reading classics, but I very much really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed its exploration of morality and humanity, and it was a really, really interesting one. Completely different to what I expected, and really interesting looking at the societal what am I trying to say? The way that society has taken over that narrative, if you get what I mean. Like, the images I had of Frankenstein, the expectation I had of Frankenstein before I went into the novel was entirely not what I walked out of the novel with. So it was really, really interesting. Then I read The Lost Honour of Katrina Bloom by Henrik Ball. This I read for uni. I also take a class called Comparative Literature where we take translated texts and compare them, believe it or not. So this semester is Heroic Woman. So this was the first text of the semester. I have annotated this text. I mean, not properly like my actual annotations, but in terms of the fact that I've scribbled some notes on it, and I've got some highlights and underlines and things like this. This was quite quick. It was really good. I think I read it in like an evening, which was really good. Sometimes you end up with these essential readings that take a whole weekend to read. Quite enjoyed this. Really different. It is to do with it's to do with the control of the media. It's historical Germany. It's really interesting. It deals a lot with language and silence, and it was quite an interesting one to study. It maybe isn't one that I would pick up purely for enjoyment's sake, but it's really interesting to look into the deeper meaning of. I read The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which again with Frankenstein is another book that I've always wanted to get around to at some point, and it's never been one that I've prioritised. I really, really enjoyed this one. Very much enjoyed it. Really, really interesting. Yeah, it's such a nice read. It's almost poetic. It's obviously written in prose, but it's such a lyrical style. I think it's super, super interesting. I really enjoyed last week was all about lectures on that and seminars on that and things like that, and it was very, very interesting. I would definitely recommend it. especially for studying, but even just for reading. It's really, really, I found it quite an easy read. Frankenstein is quite a heavy novel. I mean, so is Dorian Gray, but it's so interesting. It's so beautifully written. I would definitely recommend it as well. And another exceptional read, a read that has taken me all of this month pretty much to read, is The Hummingbird Killer by Finn Longman. It's the sequel to The Butterfly Assassin. I also annotated this. I annotated it on a first read, which I literally never do. I always annotate on a second, on like a reread, but I knew that this book was going to be exceptional. I wanted to have the whole series annotated, so it's taken me ages to annotate it, but just because it takes me so much longer to annotate, especially prettily annotate, does that work? There are so many like bloopers from this video. I might even just keep half of them in. Sorry, they just are showing the state of my brain right now. But yeah, this book is amazing. Also matches my nails. I currently do a series on my Instagram where I match my nails to my current read, which what I absolutely am loving doing it. So this is this month's matching. I'm obsessed with this book. Absolutely exceptional. Again, so emotional. I actually don't even know how many characters there are left for the final book, which I'm so excited about. The final book, I'm a little bit scared, I will be honest. I'm always a little bit scared because they're so intense, so good though. This series needs so much more hype. It's actually insane. Finn Longman's writing is just spectacular. Oh, they do such a good job. The characters are just amazing. It's so unpredictable. Like, you have no idea what's coming next. So often it's what you least expect as well. You think you've called it and then you're so far off. A huge 5 stars. This one, really, really, really loved it. Please go and read this. I am an absolute sucker for dystopia, and I will say that this series is one of the best I've ever read. Okay, and that's everything. I apologise for how much of this is classics, that's compulsory English lit reading at university, but I did still manage to fit in a few books that I absolutely loved and a few that maybe weren't my favourite. But yeah, it is probably a toss up for my favourite book of January. I think I would have to say Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Oh my god. Closely followed by The Hummingbird Killer, but I think I would probably go with Bad Blood. It was just the perfect end to the series, and such a good build up and such a lovely way to say goodbye to the characters and to the series, and it was emotional, but it was so worth it. Yeah, if you've not read The Naturals or the Butterfly Assassin series, please go and read them. I could not recommend them enough. Okay, and that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, that means a lot. If you'd like to like or subscribe, that would be amazing, but the fact that you're still here watching is amazing too. So thank you very much, and I will hopefully see you all soon for another video.